as far as I'm concerned.
What's up, people? You are now listening to As Far As I'm Concerned. I'm your boy, Reese Ross. Sitting across from me today, I have professional recording artist Jamal Nubi. Sir, how are you doing today?
Doing great, bro.
All right, that's good. I appreciate you coming through. The reason I had you come on is because the little bit that I know, you have a very interesting story through this journey in your recording career. So not only do I want to learn about that, but I want other people to learn about that might be doing music, might be running into some of the same issues, might even had some of the same issues. So we'll get you to fill in the blanks for us on that. And me personally, I don't know about a lot about recording music. I know I like music. I know a couple people that do music, but I don't know the ins and outs of it at all. So that'll be some of the questions I'll ask you, get you to answer some of that stuff for us. So we'll start with something simple. Where did you grow up at?
Well, I grew up in Roanoke, Virginia, 1006 Jackson Avenue, Southwest. Really into a musical family. My daddy played guitar, played harmonica. And the street that I was born on, I mean, they had a nip joint on every corner, and people had jukeboxes in the house,
right,
called
right.
Riccolos, at that time.
Right.
So it was music all the time, music everywhere, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on weekends, you hear somebody partying, you know what I mean? And then my oldest sister, she would always buy records every weekend. At Kaiser's Record Shop, which was up on Henry Street by 45s, so it was always music around the house,
Okay.
And her girlfriends, whenever they got new music and picked up on a new dance, they would use me to get the dance routine again.
Right.
So that's right, that's how I got into the dance part, and I guess I got into the singing and stuff the same way. Just listen to music all the time.
Right. So, now, did you play an instrument then or anything, or just mainly singing?
No, I didn't. I mean, I think the first instrument I might have ever picked up was in elementary school. That was a tambourine, some maracas, some rimbos and stuff like that.
Right.
And then after I went to Hurt Park Elementary,
I did too, by the way.
That's when I really got into drums.
Right.
This guy named Mr. Polk. He taught music at Hurt Park, and I think her name was Miss Prave. She taught music there too. So that's when I really got into the music thing. I got into snare drum and got into the little singing thing with her with the choir, and did a couple of skits. And then from Hurt Park, junior high school, got into band again, Lee Junior High School, Jefferson High School.
Mm-hmm.
I played snare drum, I played bass drum, sousaphone, even the bells, with those percussion wise, And I really didn't realize that I could really carry a tune until we had a talent show. It was like 5 of us, and we were doing a couple of songs by the Temptations, Cloud 9, and Runaway Child. They had a store called Fine's Men's Wear. So they had these silk shirts, reminded me of hot pink silk shirts.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So we went downtown just shopping around looking. We bought 5 shirts, it was 5 of us, black pants, pair of Beatle boots, which most people, the old school don't know about the Beatle boots, because, the Beatles came in with the hairstyle, the jackets, and all that, the little tight suits like they wearing now.
Right.
Pee Wee Herman type suits, So we get on the stage, we doing Runaway Child. So this guy named Charles Reynolds, we called him Lincoln. He was doing lead, I was doing lead. A couple other guys both took lead, 5 Temptations, so, they spread it out. Come around, Charles did his part, I did my part. When it come for the third guy to do his part, he froze up. So I jumped in and took his part. Then Lincoln took the 4th part, so we carried the whole thing. They were just there doing a little temptation move, right?
Right.
So then I realized, I said, wow, sound pretty good. You know, when people start complimenting, you know, I never even realized that I could carry a tune. Like when you sing along with a record
Yeah.
or something like that, you don't really know if you can sing or not.
Yeah, you might sound good to
Yeah,
you, but
yeah.
it might sound horrible to
Yeah, and I
everybody
mean,
else.
and as long as the music playing, you sounding right.
Yeah.
You know, but I ran into people after that. You know, when you cut the record off, you might as well cut them off. Because they done lost everything that they had. I mean, they don't have an ear, they can't hear the pitch, they don't hear nothing. So from that point, I got into it, and my father, you know, he used to take me little places with him, you know, little nip joints and places like that. And I never forget it, man. There was this lady named Miss Cora. She had a little nip joint on High Street over Northwest off of Henry
Oh, yeah.
Street. And I'm sitting in there one night, and she said, "Little boy, can you dance?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." So she said, "Okay." She said, here the money. Put the money in the jukebox." She said, "Show me." So I was real shy, man. You know, I was real shy. I said, "Huh?" She said, "Show me." You know.
Yeah, somebody just tell you that
Yeah, you know.
I'm going to turn music on
Yeah,
you
you know,
dance.
there's a bunch of grown people, and I'm sitting in the living room, you know, they back there playing cards or whatever they're doing, right? And having
Yeah.
little drinks and all. So she brought me a soda. I never forget, a knee-high orange, man. I mean, you know, knee-high was a nice orange soda back at that time. She brought me the soda. So she said, "Okay, you done drunk the soda." She said, "You got to dance, you know." So I get up, started doing a little dance. Next thing I know, man, quarters and 50 cents started hitting the floor. I said, "Oh, you know, just extra lunch money right here." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's how they kicked off with the sing with the dancing thing. You know, I didn't realize it, but I was singing this song as I was dancing. You know, they kept my rhythm, you know. And then we started going to other places, and people started doing that. My sister Karen and I, you know, we go to different little places, like little nip joints and stuff, you know. And people say, "Y'all dance for us. We hear y'all can dance." And they started throwing quarters and 50 cents and $half on the floor. Man, Lord, you know. I said, "Man, I can go to school, get me extra milk, extra peanut butter, cookies, everything." You know what I mean? So that's really how I got into it. And from that point on, I started playing drums, like I said, with just snare drum. There was a guy named Jolie Harrison. He played guitar. My brother-in-law, Rudy Taylor, he played guitar. So we would have jam sections on the back porch of 1006 Jackson Avenue. And later on, I got into a vocal group, and then I really realized I could carry a tune. You know, I was singing background more than lead, you know.
Yeah.
So that's how I picked up on harmony and all of that. And then I got into a full band, you know. We picked up musicians, I mean, guys that was in the high school band, and in the junior high school band, you know, we picked up guys in there that played horn, played drums and stuff like that, and we just formed a little local group, you know. But the first group that I really hit it off with was a group called Love Men,
Okay.
you know. And man, I mean, we were pumping, man. We had I think it was a 4-piece horn section. You know Killer Miller?
I do.
Yeah, Killer Miller. See, a lot of people don't know Coach Miller played trumpet.
I did not know.
Yeah, Coach Miller played flugelhorn, right? He was going to college and wrestling, and he would come in sometime on the weekend. And when he come in on the weekend, he would sit in with us, you know. So we had a trombone, we had saxophone, 2 trumpets, which Killer played one, and dude named Bucket Cruz played the other one.
Right.
You know, a guy named Spike Johnson was on drums. Him and Bernie, was Lil Bernie Smith. Both of them passed now.
Yeah.
They were going to college in Petersburg. So when they came in, you know, we practiced and we go out and do gigs. We stayed in West Virginia. I mean, we stayed in West Virginia. All the West Virginia was like second home. Every weekend we in West Virginia playing somewhere.
Okay.
And we used to have cabarets. And what a cabaret was is basically, you know, people come in, they bring meals and drinks and just a big party.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, just a big party, you know. So I got into that. I was into that about 3 or 4 years, man. And then, like I say, you know, then I got into another group. We called it Rebirth at that time, right?
Okay.
Rebirth later became All Direction. All Direction is the group that Darrell Coleman was with when he left Roanoke and went to Star Search. So I'm saying. Okay, so after that, you know, I got, you know, into a little altercation with the prison. You know?
Right.
And my whole plan before that was to do some recording. I had talked to a guy over on Elm Avenue in Roanoke about doing some recording.
Right.
So as soon as that came down, I said, well, that's all of that. That is all of that. I can forget that, because of all the places you would never expect to do something like that in a penitentiary, right?
Exactly.
So I get in prison, man. So I never forget, I was in receiving, and I kept hearing music. So I said, wait a minute. I said, that's not an 8-track. That's not a cassette. I said, that's live music. So as soon as they released me off receiving and put me into the main compound, that was my first thing, was to find out
Where that music was coming from.
It's kind of like a little cartoon thing. You hear the pipe and you be saying, where's that at? Where's
right,
that?
right. Follow the sound.
Yeah, follow the sound. So, I go around. I said, man, where the band room at? That's right around the corner, man. So I go in there. There's 3 guys sitting in there. And I think it was a guitar player. They had a guy named Lucky. We called him Lucky. His name was Gary Kennelly. Called him Lucky. He was from out of Alexander, Virginia. A guy named Edward Tucker. He was from up that way. And a guy named Snooky Payne. His name William Payne. He was from out of Lynchburg. He was the drummer.
Okay.
So they said, what you do? I said, well, I sang, man, So they said, okay, let's hit something. So they hit something about war, and we kicked it off right there. We kicked it off right there. So from that point, Snooky, he made parole, and they said, well, we need a drummer. Now, I had never played a set of drums before. I played individual drums, but a trap drum set I had never played before. You know what I'm saying? So I said, wow, man. He said, well, look, can you play anything? I said, well, I might. I said, let me try it, So I got down and started playing. And I mean, it's just amazing. It just came right out the blue. Just came right out of the blue, So we formed a little group. We called ourselves the Cosmic Conception at first.
Okay.
So we started picking up other members. And then I got into meditation. I was real deep into Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Okay.
And Maurice White, man, Maurice, I really can say he was like a musical mentor to me, because I remember, somebody asked him one time, said, you a minister, but why don't you preach behind the pulpit? And I remember him saying in an article that I can't reach the grassroots. In order for me to reach the grassroots and get my message across, I got to go where the people are. And if I go to them suit and tie and dressed up, they're not going to accept me like it. So I got to go to them like they are.
Exactly.
And then he said, "Does everybody at one point as you sing and dance, at some point you gonna sit down and listen?" He said, "That's when my message get across. When you sit down and listen to the music, that's when my man. I mean, over the years I have done that. I sung songs back in the 70s." That I just knew I was singing the right words.
I think we all still do that today.
And then later on, I found out, I listened to them later and laughed. I said, wow, man.
That's not the words at all.
No, that's not the words at all. But when you listen to stuff off of cassette player, and doing some of that stuff during that time was like 8-track.
Yeah.
You listening to it with no headphones, so you basically putting down basically what you think you heard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the same thing with guys that's picking up the keys off of the record.
Yeah.
To play it, then we get in rehearsal, we got to do so. Well, I heard it in C, I heard it in this, I heard it in that. So we got to put all that together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the first song that I ever written, they had a magazine called Hit Parade Magazine. And Hit Parade always had a little thing in it where it had competition. If you could draw a pirate or a parakeet or something like that and turn it in, you could win a prize.
Right.
So I was looking in the magazine. My sister would get these because she was all into music. Whatever come out, they always had the top 10 chart. Top 10 songs every week, just like Jet Magazine used to have.
Yeah.
Every week they let you know what the top 40 was and top 10 songs. So they had a thing that, if you write some lyrics and you send it in, so we'll, if you win, we'll do a demo and send you the demo.
Oh, okay.
So I sent the lyrics in. The name of the song was "Don't You Know." It was kind of like a blues thing, because my uncle Buddy used to listen to a lot of blues.
Right.
He was deep into Brooke Benton and stuff because he was into the service, right? So they sent me a letter, said, "Look, man, send us $25. We'll send you a copy of your lyrics on the demo that we put together." So I tell my mom, I said, look, mom, I said, I need $25. She said, for what? You know, I said, I send this song in, if people want to send me a copy, I want to see what it sounds like. She said, boy, you out of your mind. I said, what you mean? She said, $25. Don't you know how much food we can get with $25? So, you know, me being, man, like 11 years old or something like that, man, I said, well, we ain't thinking about no food. I'm thinking about, you know,
Yeah.
I got something that might make some here, you know. Took me down to A&P, which is on the market. $25 bought more food than we could carry back home.
Right.
So we had to catch a cab back home, right? So she said, you see what I mean? So I said, okay. So, you know, I forgot all about that, you know. And then, like I said, when the thing end up, we get in the penitentiary, Snooky leave, I started playing drums, and other guys started coming in. When Tucker, he left, he made parole. Kennelly made parole. So we got to thinking, I said, but dog, I said, man, y'all guys getting ready to hit the street, you know. And we were doing a song by Parliament Funkadelic that Love Man used to be called Standing on the Verge, you know.
Okay.
You know, Cosmic Slop, you know, standing on the verge of getting it on, right?
Yeah.
So I said, wow, man. I said, we stand on the edge of daybreak, you know. I said, especially y'all cats. I said, y'all just right on the edge of daybreak, you know what I mean? You know, like looking through the tunnel, you know. So that's where the name The Edge of Daybreak came from. Okay, so once we get the group going again, these cats leave, other guys come in, and this guy named James Curran, he came in from Richmond, from 500 Spring Street, had equipment and everything, and he just happened to know a guy named Milton Holt that owned a record shop in Richmond on Broad Street. So that's where he was getting his music from. So Milton came one day, he said, look, can y'all do an album? Do y'all have enough songs to do an album? So I said, how many songs do we need? He said, at least 8 to 10, you know.
That ain't too bad.
So we had, you know, we had 3 songs. You know, I had my song, Let Us Make Love, Your Destiny, and we had the title song, The Edge of Daybreak, that Edward Tucker and I wrote.
Yeah.
So he said, okay, well, y'all need at least 5 more songs, you know. So we got to workshopping, getting things together. So, okay, man. And I'm thinking, I said, well, damn, this dude talking about doing an album. I'm in the penitentiary. That's kind of going along with the plan I had before I got locked up. So,
yeah.
So, you know, I really I jumped on that, man. You know, like I said, we got 3 songs, you know.
Yeah.
So I jumped on that. So the other guys, they started getting songs together.
Now, let me stop you real quick. So the 3 songs that y'all had, was it you that wrote them or collectively as a group y'all wrote those?
I wrote Let Us Make Love, which is called Let Us, on the album of The Edge of Daybreak, Eyes of Love.
Yeah.
It's called Let Us. I remixed it, which is now on SoundCloud and Spotify. It's called Let Us Make Love.
Okay.
You know, so I wrote that, and I wrote Your Destiny. Edward Tucker and I, we collaborated on The Edge of Daybreak. Okay. So once we did that, you know, we had those 3 songs, and man, it's just amazing. We were playing for the inmates when they had Family Day, which would be like this past Labor Day or Memorial Day. You know, family could come in and you just ate 2 meals a day. You ate breakfast, and then you had lunch, and that was it. You ate all day long after that.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So we would play gigs like that. Then they had a JC's organization, and they would have banquets. So when we played for the banquets, you know, if you were close enough, your girlfriend or your wife could come in, and they had the parties at first in the kitchen,
right,
in the dining hall. Then they drill it down. They send them over to the visiting room, you know. So like I said, once Curran and those guys came in, we started working on material for the album. So Curran, I think he came up with Eyes of Love and a song called Let's Be Friends. This guy named Harry Coleman came up with a song called Dance. I Want to Dance With You and Bring Me You. And both of them, you know, they called me Sly. He said, look, said Sly, I said, man, said, what do you hear? You know, give me a little bit on this, you know. So I said, play it again, you know. So when it got to the bridge, you know, I put what I heard vocally in on the bridge, you know. And the same thing with the song that's on Moonlight and also on Roxanne, Our Love. See, Cornelius Cade and I wrote that. You know what I mean? I co-wrote that with him. He had the song, and he said, man, he said, look, he said, what do you hear right here, you know, for a change?
Yeah.
So I'm singing the bridge on that song, Our Love, you know. Also on I Want to Dance With You, Bring Me You, and Let's Be Friends, you know. So like I said, when everything was written down, it came down. See, for some odd reason, my name wasn't put in there as a co-writer.
Right.
See what I'm saying? But out of the 8 songs, I co-wrote 7 of them.
Okay.
I mean, 6 of them at least, because 2 of them are mine. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, that came down. We were playing the Women's Correctional Center, Gooseland. You know, we were playing at James River, which was another correctional center. Any road camps or field units that had entertainment, we played for all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, so like I said, when it came down, we got called one evening and said, look here, man, I said, y'all need to go to the visiting room. There's some guys down here that's going to record you. But before that happened, we asked the administration, and they said, no, that's not going to happen. Because I think that the lowest sentence that was upon the group was maybe like 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, from 20 years up to life. That's the time the guys was current. I had 35 years myself.
Okay.
You know. So he said, no, sir, you can't go to the studio in Richmond because we don't have enough security.
Yeah, they don't want to let you leave.
No, for all that exits. We don't know how many exits it is. And then the guy Milton, he didn't have enough money to pay the security by the hour anyway. You got to pay those people for being off the compound. You know what I mean? It's correctional officers. So anyway, we sent another thing back to him and asked him if the people could come out to the farm, could we do the recording there? So they said, yeah. So when the people showed up, people at the Sally Port, which is the main gate, they said, we don't know nothing about a band in here going to record. So they sent them to James River. They sent them to Gooseland. And by the grace of God, they just happened to come back the same way they went. And when they were coming back, the guy named Anderson, was a recreation guy, they asked him, said, man, where is the band that's supposed to be recorded? You know, we Alpha Studio and we can't find the band. He said, they here. He said, we've been by here. They told us nothing was happening. So they called us over the intercom. We packed everything up, went to the visiting room, set up where Alpha was getting their sound together, you know. And it was just like that, man. We played the songs straight off the top, you know. But how they came down, I remember how we used to do songs with the Love Men. You know, we practiced just like we were going to do them. I mean, if it was 20 songs or whatever, mate, we did them all the time.
Yeah.
So I suggested to the guys, I said, look, what we need to do, our 8 songs, add them into our repertoire. Don't never tell the people that they are original songs.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Just add them into it and just see how the people respond to them. And they came off nice when they called us to do the recording because we didn't have to worry about what we going to do, how we going to do it, because we did them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I counted off 1, 2, 3, 4, bam, we went into the first song and hey, that was it. You know.
So at this point, were y'all nervous about the whole recording thing or wondering whether anything was going to come out of it?
We weren't really nervous about it. We were just surprised that it happened, you know, because we never got forewarning. I mean, I think Curran knew about it because he was communicating with Milton Hope.
Yeah.
But the other guys in the band, rest of us, we had no idea that this was even possible that was happening. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when it happened, you know, we was excited. Oh man, we're going to do a recording. So after we did the recording, we never heard anything else after the recording until it came out of Richmond Time-Dispatch.
Oh wow.
A real band, but I think it had something like a real band of criminals recorded an album in a correctional center.
And that's the first time y'all had heard
It's the first
anything
time I
since
heard it.
recording it?
First time we heard anything about it. You know what I mean? So it also mentioned in there that we had plans to do a second album follow up, which we did.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what happened to that. After that newspaper came out and the album came out, 2 weeks after that, they separated us. They started sending us to different units. to make
Okay.
sure that their second album didn't happen. See what I'm saying? They
So
made
they
sure
did that on
on
purpose.
purpose. See what I'm saying? Then they told society, they told the people in Department of Correctional or whatever, I saw it in the correctional paper, that there was a clandestine rehabilitation program that they were working on. They had nothing to do with that except for approving us to do the recording.
Right.
See what I'm saying? That was our way of relieving tension by practicing and doing playing music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I first got to Powhatan, man, I never forget it. They showed movies every weekend.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there on a table, a fold-out table, by some crank-out windows. We looking at Night of the Living Dead. So I hear somebody scream. I see a spark. Then all of a sudden it get dark. So I'm saying this silhouette coming towards me, you know, like a stampede. So my instincts told me to crawl up in the window. As soon as my foot left the table left me.
Right.
You know, they cut the lights on, man. I mean, everybody had stampeded going back to the back because they didn't know what was out. Man, you in the penitentiary, man.
Yeah.
See what I'm
Never
saying?
know what's about to
No,
happen.
you don't know what thing came down. See what I'm saying? When they cut the lights on, guys had pushed the steam line all the way back to the wall. A couple of correction officers had broken legs, broken arms, you know, just stampeded, man. A couple of inmates were tore up like that, right? So when it's time to leave out of there, it was a puddle of blood. I mean, right at the door where we came in.
Yeah.
And all of us had to strip search in order to get out the dining room. Now imagine that. You got about 1,200 guys,
Right.
you know, just got to get out of there and go back to their unit, but you got to strip search first. They want to
That's
see
crazy.
who had the knives. But you look up on the table, man, they had machetes, which they used fan blades to make knives out of,
Yeah.
toothbrushes, anything they could make a knife out of was laid up under that table, at least 20 of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I said, oh, hell, man. I said, I got 35 years. This is my first weekend in here. How am I going to do this? You know, how am I going to get through this?
That was your first weekend
First
in
weekend.
there? Oh, wow.
You know, I said, how in the world our first weekend as far as the movies go, right?
Yeah.
So I said, how am I going to do this? You know what I mean? So one of my little homeboys, he said, man, look here, said, you want a knife? He said, I'll get you one for $5. I said, you got to be out your mind, man. I said, I got 35 years. They catch me with a knife, that's another 5 years. I don't need any more time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I said, well, I got to tough this out the best way I can. You know, I know a little self-defense and everything. So I said, well, I got to tough this out the best way I can. Maybe the best man win, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as it went on, I noticed the more we played in the band room, the guys started calming down a little bit. The murder thing slacked up quite a bit.
Right.
You know, then it's just a saying, man. The music soothes the savage beast.
Absolutely.
That's a definite truth. I seen that. I saw that happen. You know, guys would ask us, man, when y'all go practice, what night y'all rehearsing? You know, because they had two other bands. They had a country and western band, they had a blues band, and matter of fact, three, and a jazz band.
Yeah.
Since we were R&B and everything, right? You know, so when we tell them we're gonna rehearse, I mean, man, it was a little room. I guess about maybe the size of a little small recreation room.
Okay.
Okay. But it had one door, no fans, sweat box.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the guys were standing in the door, they could get in the door, listening to us, and some of them was around the wall. You know, so they look forward to us playing. So I'm saying, and I noticed the murder thing just dwindling on down. That's why I said, man, music does soothe the savage beast.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So like I said, we got into that, and once they transferred us, once the album came out, see that there was a clandestine rehabilitation program. That's how they covered their back, the administration at Powhatan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how they covered their back.
So try to make it seem like it's something they
They
came up
had
with.
something to do with it. You know what I'm saying? But that was our way of relieving tension, you know, and taking ourselves outside of the correctional center.
Right.
You know, and doing the same thing. We were doing the same thing with the fellow inmates because, hey, it was just like a party, man. You know, Wednesday nights, I think we practiced 2 nights a week, and then whatever nights we could get in when the other bands weren't practicing, they let us have them. So I'm saying, so we took it like that. And I never knew anything about the album being released until I got out of C custody, went into this program called the House of Thought, which was a sister program of a drug program in Richmond called Rubicon.
Okay.
Now, I didn't know nothing about drugs. The only drug I knew about was marijuana.
All
See what I'm
right.
saying? But that was a way for me to get a custody change. See, C was maximum security.
Okay.
With 35 years, that's maximum. See what I'm saying? Anything up was maximum. So you had to work yourself down to be custody, which was minimum. Then, if you were lucky enough, you got into A custody, which was trustee status.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? So I said, wow, man. So a friend of mine, Bill Crawley, he told me, he said, man, I said, look, we got a program called TA, Transaction Analysis. This woman named Gloria Fowler was teaching it. Now, transaction analysis deals with people's behavior. Eric Burns, Sigmund Freud, people like that, they came up with this transaction analysis thing.
Okay.
So I learned a lot about why I was doing certain things, certain behaviors behind that. Like each one of us got like parent, daughter, and child, which is the thing that they worked out of. I think it was Freud, Sigmund Burns thing, parent, daughter, and child.
Yeah.
And I think the other guy, his was like the okay corral, I'm okay, you okay. And then I found out, I said, wow, let me get into this program. Then I found out that I could go to B unit because they were opening up a therapeutic program. So Bill and I, we were teaching classes. Bill and I and Harry Coleman, we were teaching classes along with Gloria. So we went over to the House of Thought. Bill and I did.
Yeah.
From that point, I met this lady out of Richmond through a nurse that was at Powhatan. See, I was pure vegetarian, man. I didn't eat nothing but vegetarian, for 5 years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the reason I did that is because I saw guys, man, my age, man, in their 20s, man, taking diabetic medicine, getting shots,
Yeah.
And I said, wow, man. Because, they were eating everything that they fed. And we ate good, man.
Yeah.
Remember, we were on a farm. Everything was produced. The cows, the produce, the gardens, everything was produced right there. Inmates did it all. They had a slaughterhouse. We killed the beef, killed the pigs, planted the gardens, milked the cows, So I said, wow, I got a job in the kitchen. That way I can make sure I can eat what I want to eat.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. A lot of people never would believe this. Twice a week, man, we had T-bone steaks, man. This big as a regular plate. T-bone steak,
Wow.
big baked potato. Every meal you had a pitcher of milk or a pitcher of Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
But every meal you had a pitcher of milk. And this milk came straight out of the cow's tit, buddy. When you open the can, you seen the cream on top. You had to skim the cream off.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, there wasn't no thing about homogenation and all that. That's straight from the cow.
Absolutely fresh.
Yeah, straight out the cow. So,
Yeah.
I'm saying. So I said, wow. I said, man, if I eat like this all the time, I'm not going to make this. But
Yeah,
like I said,
you'd be like them other guys.
Yeah, I said, no, it's just going to kill me. You know what I mean? Because, then I said, no, I can't do this. So I started exercising. I started getting into the vegetarian thing. They had a magazine out called Vegetarian Digest.
Mm-hmm.
I got into that. I met this woman named Say Lee out in Oklahoma. And she would send me rye bread, pumpernickel bread, and little stuff like that. Because at that time, people could send you a whole meal into the penitentiary. When they come to visit you, hell, they could stop by KFC or wherever you wanted to and bring you a whole bucket.
Yeah.
And that was yours. Since you didn't have to eat out the dining room on the weekend if you didn't want to. Then they had a commissary. If you had enough money on the book, you didn't ever have to eat out the mess hall.
Yeah.
So I got into that. Then I said, wait a minute. I said, in order for me to eat like I want to, I got to do a little better than this. So a guy that was in charge of the dietetic kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
he went home and he said, look, man, he said, you want this job? He started telling man about it. I said, yes, sir. So I took the job in the diet kitchen, and the officer's kitchen. So that way, whatever I tell them that I needed for the diet kitchen,
Yeah.
all I had to do go into the pantry and get it. So I'm eating just what I want to eat. Because you had to have broil, you had to have a liquid diet, and then they had a soft diet, for the guys that was eating on the diabetic thing.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So that right there, that kept me into the diabetic thing. Then you could also order vitamins at that time. You could order protein and all that at that time. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So I said, everything that you needed, if you had the money on the book, you could order. I mean, you didn't even have to wear the penitentiary clothes. We had catalogs like J.C. Penney's,
Yeah.
Sears, and places like that. You had to buy jeans, but your shirt didn't have to be a denim shirt.
Okay.
You could get your velour shirts or anything. So, like, we would get velour shirts and stuff like, and your shoes didn't have to be penitentiary design shoes, brogues and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But you had to have jeans no matter what you ordered. If you ordered pants, there had to be some type of jeans. You couldn't order khakis or stuff like that, right?
Okay.
Now, the women at Gooseland could order anything they wanted. I mean, you go to Gooseland, you didn't think the girls in the penitentiary, they didn't have a fence or nothing.
Oh, wow.
No fence or nothing. See what I'm saying? So I said, wow, man. So I got into that, stayed in that for a few years. Then, like I said, when Snooky went on pain, he said, man, you said, look, the barbershop getting ready to start hiring people. I said, what you mean? He said, that's what I'm at in the barbershop. He said, they paying a little more money than the kitchen. So I said, okay. I said, what's the hours? He said, from 8 o'clock to 3. So I go down, talk to Mr. Carter, put in the thing for the barbershop. I get in the barbershop. So I'm going to barbershop Monday through Friday from 8 in the morning to 3.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Before I completed the 2,000 hours or 200 some hours in the barber course, they came in with J. Sergeant Reynolds, small business management.
Mm-hmm.
And that was at night. That was from 7 to 9. So I said, okay, I signed up for that. They kept me out of the population.
Got you.
They kept me out of all that foolishness because from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, I'm in barber school.
Yeah.
From 7 to 9, 5 days a week, I'm in night school. So I'm coming from.
So you was basically using your time wisely.
Yeah, I mean, it's two ways. I say it's two ways to do time. You can serve time, or you can let the time serve you.
Right.
I let the time serve me. And what I mean by that, I took advantage of every opportunity that I had I was confronted with that was going to make me better.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And like I said, that way I isolated myself from a whole lot of stuff that was going on in the main population.
Right.
Because prison just like it is out here on the street, man. You got some people that want to further their life and make their life better.
Mm-hmm.
And you got some people that say, well, hey, I'm just going to go with the flow.
Right. And there's plenty of them.
I mean, it was drugs everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got the little homosexuals everywhere. I mean, some of the guys just flocked into that like, hey, man, I'm at home. They actually just went into the prison system and got adapted and was content.
Yeah.
I said, where the hell
like
I'm
they
content.
was okay with being
there. Yeah, they
there.
was okay with that. I said, where? I said, man, come on. I mean, I told a couple, I said, look, I don't care how good you got a dog trained, right? If you take the leash off that dog, he gone.
Yeah.
Now he might come back, but if you keep him in a cage and keep a leash on him, as soon as he get out that cage and he gone, man.
Yeah.
But you got humans supposed to be smarter than that, right? Man, open the gate, they gonna stay right there. Don't you go nowhere, man. So I'm saying, so I said, I can't deal with people like this, man.
Yeah.
So my whole thing was, I hadn't finished school. So the first thing I did was got my GED.
Okay.
Got my GED. Second time, I think I made a top score on GED. Then like I said, went into barber school. Went into small business management. Got into the band first of all, and then things just took her down. But getting back to the album, first time I heard anything about the album, I met this lady from Richmond, and she said, do you know anything about a band down here that recorded the album? I said,
She was asking you that?
Asking me when I was in, I had got my B cuss and I went to the therapeutic program, so we sitting outside. I never forget it, Reese. It was like 90 degrees, man. I'm sitting there sweating like a pig, right? So I said, yeah, I know something about it. I said, what? She said, well, they've been playing this love song on the Quiet Storm in Richmond for over 2 months. I said, huh? She said, yeah. She said, I can't think of the name of the band. And lo and behold, my song came on.
Oh, wow.
Let Us. Man, I was lost. I was speechless.
So this was the first time you were hearing it outside of y'all playing it.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever heard it. See what I'm saying? Man, I'm sitting there, like I said, I was sweating, man. I looked at my arms, man. I had goosebumps, you know, chill bumps.
Yeah.
Hot as it was, right? She said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "That's my song." She said, "What?" I said, "That's my song, but that's me singing it." And I said, "That's the group." She said, "Well, they've been playing it, Jamal, for the last 2 months on Quiet Storm in Richmond, you know." And I said,
Crazy.
"Wow, man, you know, dream came true, and I knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
Knew nothing about it, right?" I said, "Okay." But no band over there, 'cause like I said, they had disbanded us.
Yeah.
So this guy that I knew, his name was Ulysses Pelham. We called him Big U. He got on with Capital Construction. Capital Construction was a statewide trustee construction group.
Okay.
So they sent him to what we call Deep Meadow, which was a trustee camp. You know, I think it might have been like 3 or 4 miles from Powhatan. Okay.
Yeah.
So I said, "Look, you." I said, "Man, give me an application for Capital Construction." I said, "I can drive a dump truck." You know, 'cause my brother-in-law, Joe Woods, he had dump trucks. And I mean, you know, I knew how to drive a truck. And my daddy drove trucks and all that. I learned how to drive when I was about like 17. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I put the application in. They accepted it. So I was transferred from B custody to A custody once I got accepted by Capital Construction.
Yeah.
So I get into Capital Construction. Man, we lived in trailers. I mean, this place really looked like Starlock 13. You know, I mean, they had the little huts that the officers was in.
Yeah.
Had the little Constantine wire around the fences. You had 2 trucks that would ride around the perimeter, you know, all day and all night. You know,
Yeah.
they take turns, you know, and like the little forest ranger things that you see the little huts that the forest rangers be in, right?
Yeah.
They had one of them on each corner of the compound, you know, with officers in them with shotguns, right?
Right.
Even though we were still A custody. So we started going out, doing different things. So one of the guys who was on Capital Construction, he was driving a truck. I couldn't drive. They wouldn't let me drive at that time. He made parole when we was in Martinville at Camp 25.
Okay.
And they had a semi-tractor trailer. Also, where we carried all our roofing. I was on the roofing crew.
Mm-hmm.
All our equipment was on that. We had 2 guys out of Danville, out of Martinville, that was a supervisor. One of them name was Woods, and the other one we called Warren, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know if Woods to this day, I don't know if he was part of the Woods Brothers racing crew or not. So I'm saying, I don't know. But he was one of the formers, and his friend name was Wayne, right?
All right.
So they said, "Oh, man," said, "how we going to get this truck back to Powhatan?" So I told him, I said, "Well, I can drive." He said, "Come on, Nubi." I said, "Can you drive for real?" I said, "Yeah." So they took me right out the compound that evening, Camp 25 in Martinville, right?
Yeah.
Put me in the truck, took me down in the field. They said, "Okay, show us." I drove the truck, backed it up and everything. Next day, we went to DMV in Martinville. I took the test, passed the test, gave me the driver's license. I drove the truck back to Powhatan, and that was my job from then on. You know, I drove the truck, and I worked the kilo, you know, from the ground, because we were putting tile on roofs then. I think they got a whole different system now.
Yeah.
You know, I worked that kilo. And twice a week, man, believe this or not, twice a week I would drive from Powhatan Correction Center to Marion, Virginia by myself.
Oh wow. So with no supervision.
No supervision. I'll come back to get equipment or something like that, and I'll be by myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can imagine, I've been locked at that time. I think I was locked up about 6 years. Okay, hadn't been in Roanoke no kind of way. I come by 581. I look over. I see the star on the mountain. And you can imagine some people that have been really tempting. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know.
That's what I'm sitting here thinking.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm like, so how did you not?
Yeah,
like,
but I mean,
I have a vehicle. I'm by myself.
No, but I know if I got caught off of that interstate, hey, that's
Very true.
escape charge. See what I'm saying? That's more time. And I didn't want to do the time that I was doing. I did 6 years.
Right.
You know, had to do 8 years before you go up for parole. I mean, I ain't no way in the world I was going to jeopardize that.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to keep my cool. So I go get caught right outside of Charlottesville in Orange County, coming back one evening. They done left me, man.
Yeah.
You know, they back at the camp. I get caught up about 7 o'clock at night in the summertime. Truck breakdown. I sit on the side of the road at 9 o'clock at night for somebody to come out there looking for me. That was prime time to leave.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there laid up on the roof of the truck, hood of the truck. I said, well, they'll eventually find out there's something in here. You know, they'll catch me before count time.
Yeah.
You know.
So
So
what year? What year was this?
this was about, I would say, okay, we recorded in 79. Album came out in 80. This was probably between 81 and 82 because I made parole in 83.
Okay.
So I'm saying.
So it wasn't no cell phones or nothing around.
Oh, no, Lord, no. Well, none of computers or none of that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I come to find out later on that every time we went to a different unit, all of our penitentiary records was in the same truck with us. Now think about that.
Yeah. So that to me that means you had ample opportunity
Yeah, I
to
could
do
have
something stupid,
I could have took my records and disappeared.
and nobody would have never
and
known the
found-
wiser.
Never did. I mean, they would have never known. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You know, and I checked that out. I really checked that out myself in 2005.
Yeah.
I go down to the courthouse in Roanoke, and I asked the lady, I said, how far back do your records go? She said, well, what you looking for? I said, something from out of 1979, 1980. She said, oh, Lord, no. She said, we would need a building bigger than this to keep records like that in. She said, we don't have records like that now. You know, she said, everything is on computer or the little microfiche, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't at that time. You know,
Everything was just on paper.
on paper. Well, and the reason why they took our records with us, because when we went to another unit to work, we were part of that unit.
Right.
And see, and they counted, you know, twice a day, as far as I know. I think one time was like 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and then like maybe 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So long as the count was right, when they called into Richmond and all the units got what they supposed to have, it didn't make no difference where you were, as long as the count was right. I got caught outside of Richmond, you know, where 95 goes up to D.C. once you come out of Richmond on 64.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had just passed that exit. Truck broke down again. I'm coming from Chesterfield. We did a job down at Chesterfield Correctional Center.
Yeah.
So it's summertime again, right? I'm sitting out there side the road. Got state tags on it, just like you see state government tags on the truck.
Mm-hmm.
State police officer passed by. He waved, I waved. He going on down like he going to Richmond. He come back by 2 hours later. He said, man, he said, you got a truck policy? Yeah, I said, the truck broke down, man. You know. He said, well, I passed you 2 hours ago. He said, what's wrong? He said, where you going? I said, I'm going to Deep Meadow. He said, where's that at? I said, that's over with Powhatan Correctional Center. He said, you work over there? I said, no, I'm a convict. I'm an inmate. He said, what?
I can just in my head imagine the look on his face.
Yeah,
when
you
said
can imagine.
that.
He said, what? I said, yeah. He said, come on, man.
He was probably trying to figure out why you was still sitting
That's exactly
there.
what he said. So he said, get in the car, you know. So I go, you know, shit. I go to grab the back door.
Yeah.
He said, no, get up in the front. He said, because if you was going somewhere, you'd have been gone.
Yeah, very true.
Man, we got over to Deep Meadow. He got to the Salad Port. He said, do y'all know Jamal Nubi? The guy said, yeah. He said, well, is he assigned to this compound? Dude said, yeah. Officer Brown, right?
Yeah.
He said, yeah, he assigned to this compound. He said, let me tell you something. He said, y'all need to get your shit together. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
He said, this man been sitting out on 64 for at least 4 hours. And he'd probably still be out there if I hadn't brought him here. He said, what's the problem? You know what the officer told him? He said, man, said, shit, Nubi might come in here 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So ain't nothing strange about that.
Yeah.
You know, so he pop in here anytime with the truck. He said, well, your truck sitting on the side of the road out there, somebody need to get it. You know what I mean? So they sent somebody to get it. 2 days later, I'm on my way back to Marion. You know. So we come back to Deep Meadow. We finished the job in Marion. I never forget, it was like in October, November. I know it was close to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay. So we come back, and I'm on the compound for maybe 3 weeks. You know, waiting for our next assignment.
Yeah.
people come and say, look here, man. I said, we need you over Powhatan. I said, for what? Parole hearing. I said, parole hearing? I said, yeah. So I get over to Powhatan, man. You know what they told me? And this was in April.
Well, let me stop you. At this point, how long had you been in at this point?
At this point, I was right on the 8th year.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Okay.
And this was in April. When they, like I said, we got back to Deep Meadow around October, November.
All right.
So April, they called me to Powhatan for parole hearing. Because that's the lad, they had no idea where I was at. When I get over there, they tell me, say, man, I said, we've been everywhere looking for you. I said, what you mean? We went to James River. We done been to Gooseland because we heard you worked over Gooseland sometime, which I did.
Yeah.
And said, didn't nobody know where you were? And that's when it dawned on me. I said, damn. It was
You
like
could
that.
have disappeared a long time ago.
If they don't know, they didn't know where I was at. See what I'm saying? So the man said, what do you do? I said, look, I work for Capital Construction, statewide construction crew.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I drive semi-tractor trailer. And I said, I'm on the road a lot. He said, you do what? I threw my driver's license on the table. Driver's license just as clear as day. Jamal Nubi, address Powhatan Correctional Center. The dude looked at it, he looked at me. He slid it down to the other 6 people. He said, man, he said, as long as I've been on parole board, he said, I ain't never seen nothing like this before in my life. I said, everything that you see running up down the highway that's got state tags on it, not necessarily a state employee. He said, I see that.
So they ain't have no idea
Nothing.
that a convict would be out
driving
on the road
by
driving.
himself. See what I'm saying? So I said, okay. So then he started asking me, he said, look, at this place where you gonna work if you make parole? I said, yeah. He said, is this where you gonna be staying if you make parole? I said, yeah. He said, you got anything to say? I said, yeah. I said, let me tell you something. I said, I'm forgetting how to do the street. He said, what you mean by that? I said, when I left the street, my son was 18 months old.
Yeah.
He can return 8. See what I'm saying? I said, look, outside I got my GED, 2 years of small business management. See what I'm saying? Got my barber's license. We recorded the first and only album that's ever been done in the Virginia Correction Center. There's nothing else for me to do. Nothing else for me to do.
Right.
So he said, huh? I said, yeah. I said, man, it's time for me to get up out of here, do something, transfer me to somewhere. I said, because, this is it. But 4 days later, man, I made parole.
Wow.
They had already gave me parole. They couldn't find me.
So the whole time they was looking for you, you were technically free.
I wasn't free. No, you ain't free on
Well, I
parole.
mean, not free, but
I was not
relieved.
confined.
Right.
But I
But
didn't know
they
that.
couldn't find you.
Yeah, they couldn't find me. So that's why they kept asking me, because this is where you're going to work, this is where you're going to stay, and this and that, right? So 4 days later, I get a letter in the mail, you've been granted parole. And I wish they hadn't never did that, man. Never sent me the letter, see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that week that I had to wait to be released,
Mm-hmm.
I felt the whole pressure of the 8 years, man.
Right. Right.
Anticipation.
Just thinking about this
Anticipation.
might happen.
No. I mean, when I know that I had made parole, you got to wait a week before you get your date.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Before they send me the date. See what I'm saying? So I'm waiting. I mean, that whole week was like the whole 7 years waiting on that date.
Yeah.
See what I'm coming from? So I said, oh, man, I said, I wish they hadn't never told me till that morning when they said, look here, Nubi, pack up your gear and come to the front gate.
Yeah.
That's the way I wish they had did it. And then when you're in the penitentiary, you can't tell somebody you made parole because you got haters and jealousy there too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A guy that didn't make parole, saying he may have something against you that you never know,
Yeah.
but he do something and make you jeopardize your parole, bam, there you go. See what I'm saying? It's crazy, man.
All right, y'all. For right now, we're going to stop right there. As you can see, this story is extremely interesting. Next time, we're going to get even deeper into the story and see how things turn out. Until next time, I'll holler at you.
As far as I'm concerned, this shit is over.